Hello, hello, hello everyone. I'm Dasha Jamison with Red Rock Pastel Society of Nevada, and today we have very special guest from Canada, Clarence Porter. I'm showing his artwork right now. Hi Margie, how are you? So let me show his artwork really quick. And few minutes while everybody's joining us. Me too, me too. So hopefully we can get connected here. It's a beautiful day in Las Vegas, but it is kind of windy today. There are a couple of more days left till our upcoming show. So you can enter if you haven't yet. And let's try it again. Hey,
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm better now. A little bit of a panic there, but I'm an old guy. What do you want? Learning this new
Well,
technology.
I know we all learned so much in the last couple of years, and
Yes.
I think there is all your friends from Instagram joining us. They're excited to see you live on
Oh,
Instagram.
good.
I don't know, can you see comments or no? But they in the bottom of my screen, so I will be.
You, you know, if you pay people enough money, they'll come to anything. What can I tell you?
Well, I will be sending your checks, guys, later. Maybe, maybe not. Well, no
Yeah.
promises
So
here,
how
but
are you? It's
yeah.
good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. It's the first time we talk in flesh. I'm doing fine, and very
Good.
beautiful sunny day in Las Vegas, kind of
Uh,
windy.
yes. Yeah, we just
How?
got through with a bit of a snowstorm yesterday, which was ridiculous. It was very warm the day before, and then all of a sudden we got rain and then snow. Fortunately, it was warm enough, so all of it's pretty well melted now. So, yeah, now it's going to warm up again. So, anyway,
So you're going through a real spring, not a fake spring like we had
that's right.
here.
Oh yeah, we do spring real up here. So, yeah.
And where in Canada are you?
I'm just outside of Toronto, between Toronto and Niagara Falls, just sort of right in the middle, in a city, Hamilton, Ontario. So yeah, about 40 minutes away from Toronto, 40 minutes away from Niagara Falls in Toronto.
Oh, that's great location. Close
Yes,
enough, but far enough too. So.
yes, yes, it is. So it's a great place. The city itself, Hamilton itself, is a great city. It's a really good city. It's a good city for artists. So um, that's yeah, I like this city. It's got all kinds of things. It's actually one of Hamilton is actually has probably more green spaces than a lot of people, a lot of places in Ontario, and it's a surprise to a lot of people because it is actually a steel city. So it's a lot of steel companies are here, but there's a lot of green space. So it's a nice place to live.
That that's awesome. Uh, and you going live from your studio? I see all those beautiful drawings.
Yes, yep. This is down in my little art cave. Yes. So.
I don't know anything about you, so I
Oh,
on pur I, I'm on purpose didn't read any interviews. So it's like let's say the basically are you going to IX? Uh,
no, no, no. I'm not going to be able to make this one, but I do want to go. I've especially over this period of COVID, a lot of online, and I've got a chance to meet what I would consider to be, not, what I've got a chance to meet a lot of my pastel heroes and to get to know them. So I want to see all of these people one day and just meet all of them and give them all a big hug too, because it's been it's been a long haul for all of us, right? So,
Yes,
um,
it's been too long. Well, what I was going with it to, like, let's imagine we met at IAPS in a coffee shop, and like, I know
yeah,
you're a pastel artist. I am wanna be a pastel artist, and tell me
you
how.
started this. You started rock Red
Red
Rock,
Rock,
right?
yeah, yeah, yes, I
Yeah,
did. When I moved to Nevada in 2018,
yes,
I just realized Las Vegas is a big city, obviously, but here wasn't a pastel society. And
yes,
I saw all the wonderful job like Arizona and
yeah,
California doing, like, maybe we should do something like that too. And
yeah,
when COVID happened and we went all online,
yeah,
and there is a lot of limitations, but I started series
yeah,
of live interviews, and as you said, had a chance to meet a lot of my pastel heroes
yeah,
uh, by
yeah,
talking to them, and we've been teaching Zoom and now making transition into like real world, and
yes,
organizing our first live exhibition in Las Vegas, and
yes, yes,
there is one online. So,
yeah.
but you guys probably already tired to hear about that. There is. Let's talk about you. How did you start it with pastels? I seen them in exhibitions and they
Yeah.
masterful. But how did
Oh,
you
thank you.
start?
Um, start well, just sort of stepping back just a little bit because I was in the advertising agency business for a good chunk of my early life, and I was an art director, and then I left the advertising business, and I started. I became a freelance commercial illustrator. So for about 40 plus years, I was doing illustrations, and I was doing it using markers and acrylic, and I did scratchboard, and I did block cuts, and anything you could imagine. I was doing all of it. I had myself a great time as a freelance illustrator. And I got a chance to, through the course of all of that, and I worked with pastels a little bit back then. I did a couple of pieces, but it wasn't in the same way because I didn't know. I didn't know about sanded papers, and I didn't know the difference between a hard and a soft pastel. I just went out and picked up I still have it somewhere here, my set of new pastel sticks, right? Back when nobody else, where you could get them everywhere. You can't find them now, by the way. But so I started with that, and I just sort of worked on the standard pastel paper that you get in art stores and Curry's here. But that basic sort of kind of strangely textured, mechanically textured papers. And I worked on that for a while because, like I said, I didn't know anything more about that than that. And then move forward years later. I actually saw a show in Toronto. They have this large outdoor show. And there was an artist there, and his name's Tim Daniels. And I always talk about Tim Daniels because he's sort of my mentor. And all of these booths had tons and tons of different kinds of artists doing all kinds of things. Anyway, I went through his booth. I saw his booth and his work, and just lovely, rich colors, like, as you know, how pastels can be rich, vibrant colors, wonderful design, lovely landscapes. And I just fell in love with the look of it, and so I took his business card, and this was maybe 2 years before I moved here to Hamilton. And I took his business card with the idea that eventually I would sit down and talk with him about the whole process of how to really get that same kind of look with pastels. Moved here. My freelance illustration business was just sort of winding down. I was sort of moving away from it I was moving away from it and decided that I needed to be doing something else with art in general. So as opposed to working for other people, commercial work, I decided to find some sort of a way to make a living doing art, other than, someone else creating artwork, out of my own, being. And so I thought I'd give him a call. And so this, like a couple of years later, I called Tim Daniels up. I say, hey, I'm interested in talking to you about pastels. What can you tell me? And so he goes, come on over to my house and we'll talk. And then, so I drive over to his house and we go downstairs to his studio, and he's, he has here. So, he just starts telling me about all of this. You've got these papers and, all these different kinds of papers and all kinds of pastels, and here's what they do, and so on and so on and so forth. And he gives me some of the pieces, actually some of the pastel papers I still have, and I use to show, when I'm teaching a class with beginners, to show them the different kinds of pastels. Anyway, but he gave me all this information, and I went away from there and I started playing with it. One of the first pieces I did was his portrait, because he was such this wonderful soul, this rich, sort of generous soul, and I did his portrait. I entered it in the Pastel Artists Canada's one of their exhibitions back in 2006, I think, and it got an honorable mention. So I thought,
Oh, wow,
this
congrats.
is, yeah, it's fantastic. And I go, okay, pastels are a cool thing. I like pastels now a lot. And so it became the process of I spoke with him a lot. I started looking online and looking at various other artists and what they were doing. Videos before people were doing Patreon, so there were a lot of free videos online. One of the people I followed was Karen Margulies, and she inspired me, because one of the things, and this is way back when, so we're talking, 2007, whatever. One of the things that she was doing, and I'm guessing she still does, but she was talking about at the time, and at that time it had been 10 years up to the point when I saw what she was, this particular video. She did a painting a day she had been doing a painting day for over 10 years. Wow, who can do that? Who does that, right? And then I thought of, and she talked about why, she did it. And I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to challenge myself, because I needed to get a kind of discipline also. So I challenged myself to do a painting a day for a month, okay? And small ones, and the way she did it, she, you do, 9 by 12, whatever, small pastels. You do one, but you had a specific period of time you could do it. 1 hour, that's all you had to do it, right? So you had to do this, and you had to do it in an hour. And it was sort of a training process. In doing that, you sort of train yourself. You become quicker, you move faster with the pastels. And one of the things I wanted to do was loosen up my style. So this was a great way to do it. So so I did it. I took it on. So I started with like 5 by 7s, and I started working my way up in the size 8 to 10, 9 by 12 kind of thing. And at the end of it, actually, I went on for about 33 days before I stopped doing that process. At the end of it, I had quite a nice collection of work, and you could see the progress from when I started till the end of it, and the comfort with working with pastels. So it's a great way, to get you over the hump of working with pastels, and having a fear. You get comfortable, and you mess up, you take a brush and you just scrape it all down, and you've got this nice background behind that you can actually build on top of, working with different papers. I used to make my own surfaces, using the pastel ground. And I would mix, like my sort of go-to is to put a hot pink gouache in my pastel mix, because I love having that pink background, way back in the back, showing through when I put my pastels over top of it. That's sort of a thing that I do. But yeah, so that was sort of the beginning of getting comfortable with pastels. Watching, tons of wonderful people. And then I started with a small show where I took photos of neon street signs on this one particular street, Ottawa Street, here in Hamilton. And just, looking up and taking photos of neon signs and, all kinds of business signs and reducing my work down to just sort of really close-ups of, it could be just a letter, or it could be half of the sign or whatever on a sunny day. So you get reflections, you get shadows going on. and they were all done. The Fibonacci's golden rectangle, the size of it was done that kind of measurement, because I was sort of playing with that whole kind of Fibonacci math kind of thing at the time, and I wanted to see what would come out of it doing it. Anyway, it was a successful. I did, I think, 9 pieces. It got entered in a show, got juried into a show at the Hamilton Art Gallery, and that was sort of a, that was sort of next step. Oh, okay, so let's keep going with the pastels, and then I had my first solo show had to do with the city of Hamilton, because it's a steel city. And as such, you've got a lot of industrial, you've got a lot of smoke, you've got a lot of, all that kind of thing. And when I first moved here back in 2001, I had a sort of a love-hate thing with Hamilton, because there was the whole, as far as I was concerned, there was an environmental issue, with steel and making, and, all that. But it turns out, in fact, that the city was a lot cleaner than I thought it was. I was just going on view. And my son actually told me that I needed to look at it differently. I needed to look at the city differently. It had all of this wonderful, architecture. It had all this wonderful, all these wonderful plumes of steam coming out of the factories and that. And he said, if you just sort of adjust how you look at the city, you might find something there to work with. And as much as I didn't want to admit that he was right, I did that. And what came out of that was a series called Steel Views. And it had to do with the city of Hamilton. And it was, like I said, it was my first solo show. So from there, that led to so many other things. The show led me into teaching at Sheridan College, getting to know the city better, and realizing that, in fact, it was a great artist community. Excuse me. And, just a lot of things came out of that. Being able to teach, I teach at the Dundas Valley School of Art. I've been doing that for quite a while now, online and live. And back when I used to teach at the Art Gallery in Hamilton. So that's you. I just gave you the Reader's Digest. It's longer and,
long journey, and
a long journey.
Fantastic one, obviously. I'm going to read few comments, and we have a lot of new people joining us for
Hi, new people.
and your friends. So who don't know me, I'm Dasha Jamison with Red Rock Pastel Society of Nevada. We're doing this series of interviews with artists from all over to promote our upcoming shows. We have 2 coming up. One online entry deadline is coming up. No shipping, no framing. Enter online on show submit. And another one, local show in Las Vegas. I will go back to it in a few minutes, but I'll just gonna take a moment and read some wonderful comments what you've been submitting. Patrons of Clarence, we respect this powerful rise. Paris Brenda says that there is Earth Scout Gallery, and they are beautiful. So I guess your pastels are beautiful. There was hello from Vladimir. Hello, Vladimir. Okay, if I'm missing somebody, don't take it personally. I just having hard time to read on a small screen. You are a super inspirational artist. Thank you for sharing your story from creative tea design. Hi. Thank you. Hi, Clarence. Good to see you. I miss your classes at Sheridan. This is from JJ Dobbs.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Yeah, I taught at Sheridan College, and it was a wonderful experience. Great students, and it was a lot of fun. I think I taught there for about almost 10 years. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. So, hi, back at you. I remember. Yeah. This is a successful person we were talking to right there. So
Paris Brenda. His articulations of his talent is so lovingly intertwined with his teaching and success as an artist in the making. It's about you, Clarence. So
that's and give Terry a big hug for me.
Joe from South Carolina saying it sounds fascinating. Can't wait for the work to come next from Terry Brown. So you have a lot of fans and friends, and definitely turn around this city, and were able to build community and enhance it with your art.
It's
But
fantastic. Thank you, Terry.
here's
Well, I want to,
Niva.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah, checked out Displayers Court Saturday. Awesome stuff. Hamilton is lucky to have wonderful artists. Guys, you're amazing. Thank you for all your hearts. And when we finish this interview, please press likes. We're gonna save it. I'll try my best so it will go on our both accounts if it's possible. But somehow internet is not always very friendly, but that's something what we're doing, and you will motivate us to do more interviews. So you was going to say something.
Yeah, no, I was for those who haven't worked with pastels, because I know I've had some questions about the fact that they can be very unforgiving. And in fact, I just wanted to say that pastels are very forgiving as a medium. When you're working with the sanded paper, that was one of the things I didn't know about, and a lot of people didn't know about. When you're working with sanded paper, when you're working with not only just sort of the hard pastels, you start to come to understand the reason for working with hard through. There's a variety of pastel densities, wrong word, but from hard to soft pastel, you start to learn why you do that. You start to learn that you can layer color over top of color. And build these wonderful depths of color. And then if you mess it all up, like I said, you just take a paintbrush, some old raggedy paintbrush, and just scrape it all down so that you get back to the tooth of the paper. And then you can just draw right over top of that, and you would be amazed at the kinds of things you could create over top of something that you messed up. You can also erase pastels. People don't know that. Use a kneaded eraser. You can use gum erasers. There are all kinds of ways of working with it, and it's a very, very forgiving medium, and it's beautiful. It travels well. You don't have to have water with it, even though you can use it with water because it's pigment. There are just a lot of wonderful. It's a wonderful medium to work in, and so I'm going to keep working in it till I beat it to death, basically, till I can't figure out anything else to do with it. And that's going to take quite a while. So anyway, that was my sales pitch for pastels.
Thank you. So I have to follow up with a question. We have a lot of questions about fixative. Please don't let me forget about it.
Oh.
But first, I had a question under the post. I'm actually fascinated to ask you that. But let me ask you what I ask every artist for my interview. So you have to leave for deserted island, and you can take only 2 kinds of pastels and one surface. What would you take with you?
Okay, the 2 pastel sets would be, I'd take a set of new pastels because I need my hard pastel, or harder sort of, but and I would take Terry Ludwig. And for paper, I would take UART 400. And as a matter of fact, speaking of which, a couple of years ago we went to Italy, and that's what I took. So I took just a small set of new pastels so I could do quick sketching, and I cut 8 or 10 sheets of cut down to 8.5, 11 sheets of UART 400, and I had my Terry Ludwigs. I was good to go. Could do anything quickly, and it was in a small box too, so they also travel nicely. Small box, put it all in one box, and away you go. It's great. So that's my answer.
Great tip, and love new pastels. Love Terry Ludwig. Your art is very forgiving.
Yes. Yep. Oops, can't hear.
Yes, somebody tried to call me. I'll be back. Yes. Yes. So great choices.
Okay.
That's what happens if you
I mean,
if you wouldn't turn your phone
Yeah,
back,
go ahead.
but
Sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
We're going live, so guys, various live interruptions.
that's
But we are gonna to save this, and I'm gonna post it on YouTube, guys. If you're interested in pastels, we have a lot of demos by the artist on our Red Rock YouTube channel, what in free access there. So check them out. Clarence, there are a lot of questions about fixatives, and somebody asked about seeing the accomplished pastel artist pouring varnish. I never seen that before in my life, but
yeah.
somebody was pouring varnish over finished pastel painting, and after that using fixative. So is that a good way to fix pastel in your opinion?
Okay. You know what? It's funny because I was actually going to pose that question. There's a group, pastel group that I'm a member of for teaching online is basically what the group is about, for teaching pastels online. And and I was going to post that very question today. And I'm going to post it about fixatives. And I'll tell you why. I haven't, small exceptions, but for the most part, I don't use fixatives. And I want to. I'd love to use a fixative if I knew it could maintain the color. And there are ways around it. There are ways of working with fixatives depending on which pastels you're using. So for instance, if you're working with Schmanke pastels, they're very, very dense pastel, and they could take a fix. You could put a fixative on them, and the color won't shift. But a lot of the other pastels will shift. The color will either darken or no, they all darken. But for instance, a lot of the really light colors will just completely get blown out. So I've been, what is it? I'm going to slide back to looking at the, yeah, I'm going to actually get it. Hold it. I've been working with Spectrafix. Spectrafix apparently has a new one that's supposed to be the ultimate fix. And comes in this new nifty little bottle kind of thing. One of the other problems I found was when you're using sort of a pump bottle that it tends to sort of leave, splotches all over the place. But anyway, so I've been playing with that, and I've heard about the varnish, using the varnish on pastels. There's also, someone else had mentioned that Krylon is making a fixative for pastels. So I'm going to put the question to the group
Yeah.
and find out what other people's experiences are, because I have my work framed. Basically, I have it framed. And it's one of it can be one of the problems with pastels, and because you don't have to frame an oil painting in terms of having it behind glass. So, it cuts down on the cost because framing is quite expensive. So I want to be able to, I would love to be able to find out a surefire method for using a fixative, so I don't have to pay, so I don't have to pay the additional cost for framing behind glass. So I'll keep you posted on that. But that's where I am so far. I did an experiment with the Spectrafix where I took a painting and I sort of divided it in thirds and sprayed, using different fixatives to see what happened. And I still lost some color on some of the work. A lot of the sort of more chromatic colors tended to lose some of their oomph. So I'll keep you posted. I'll find an answer. I'll post it on your site.
Thank you. Yes, please do post it on our Facebook group, and
Yeah.
that would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Just saying, Jean Rosie Smith recommends Lasco fixative with very fine coats, and there is a video about it. So
Right.
there is a battle about fixatives, but pastels doesn't need it. You can have it, but it doesn't necessarily need it.
Yes.
So, and
Yeah. I also, you know, another place I do use now, when I said I use fixatives like this, what I mean is when I'm doing an underpainting, for instance, if I'm doing a dry underpainting with pastels as a rub, you know, for a background without any liquid, I'll spray that, and the color will go wherever it goes, and I'm not concerned about it. You know, as long as I have my values, my good dark values in there. You know, it's fine. And I will, you know, so I'll lay down my darkest value and I'll spray it because I want that to stay put. I don't want the dark to migrate up through, you know, up through lighter pastels that I'll be using. So that's a place where I'll use it. I'll also use it when I'm doing my preliminary sketch. So when I'm, you know, I've got my board set up and I've laid it all and I've gridded it all out or whatever, however I put on there. If I want those lines to stay put so I know where everything is, I fix that. So that's another place where I'll use it. I know there are some artists who will fix layers. So they'll work, fix it. And then they'll on top of that with their pastels and fix it. So there are a lot of ways of working with fixators. I want to find the best way so I can, like I said, so I can cut down, so we can all cut down on the cost of framing. You know? So I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
Well, there is discussions like for the art being beautiful and to be on a gallery wall or go to some collector's house. There is many ways we can play with, right? But
Yes.
there is also discussion about entering in a pastel show. Some of the fixatives are acrylic based, and also they create codes. So there is a discussion: is it pastel after all, or is it mixed media? So if you enter the pastel show, that's up for the judges and jurors. But,
because that's usually established in the prospectus, right, where they'll say that it has to be whatever percentage or whatever.
I have to write a few of us for upcoming shows, but those are not fun stuff. Need to ask you about pastel books or art books. If you would recommend art books to anyone, which three would you recommend?
Okay. Well, actually, I wrote down some. So I'm gonna. Okay. If you're just beginning in pastels, this and even if you're just sort of, you know, this is a good book for sort of beginner through to, you know, doing, you know, intermediate to doing, you know, advanced work. Finding Your Style in Pastels. It's by Jean Herons, Hirons, and it's a really good book. It's a very solid book full of a lot of wonderful information, and it has one of the clearest explanations on color theory that I've read so far. Very, very simple, straightforward. You look at it and go, oh, that makes sense, because that's always the sort of mystery of working in art, you know, where there's color theories and, you know, they tend to get esoterical. I don't know, but anyway, so that's a really good book to get. It's a pretty book too. It's a lot of good examples of, actually, it looks like, because I keep it close, it looks like that. So it's a nice book. It's a really good book. The other book, because I had, you know what? If you want a book that's going to sort of focus your mind on why you're doing what you're doing, whether you're painting, you know, whether you're, paint, acrylic, oil, whatever, or your pastels, watercolor, whatever. It's sort of a quick read. It's almost a philosophical book, almost an art philosophical book. It's called Creative Authenticity, 16 Principles to Clarify and Deepen Your Artistic Vision. And it's by Ian Roberts. And it's got it's the kind of, you know, because sometimes we can get stuck, you know, we can get, artist block or whatever. And it's a good way. And sometimes when we're working on a piece, we sort of lose direction. What am I trying to say with this piece? Where am I trying to go? And it's a really good book to read, to just sort of focus your mind on what it is you're trying to say in your painting. And it comes with questions that you should ask yourself as you're working along, you know, like, okay, why am I doing that? Wait a minute, why did I put that there? How come I, you know, and like that. So that's a good book to have. It's a little pocket-sized book, and and it's an easy read. It's a lovely read. It's a lovely book. And then I would say probably one of my favorite. It's a painting book, but it's just, I used this book a lot when I was teaching at Sheridan College. Quotes from this book, because, and the book's title, before I go, the title is Alla Prima 2, Everything I Know About Painting and More, by Richard Schmid. And Richard Schmid, this book is just, bravo, there you go. Isn't it a great book?
It's fantastic,
it's
and it's his memory. I think a
yes,
couple of days ago, it was a year like we have Angel
yes.
of Richard Schmid, but I purchased this book a year ago on that day, so loving it, and
Fantastic.
fantastic art, and both editions are amazing, very inspirational.
Yeah, I'm gonna read one of my favorite quotes from here. I wrote this down
Please.
because the question that's always asked in classes are, when do I know when the work is done? When do I know when my art is finished, right? And he just nailed it. I love what he wrote. He wrote, whether my piece is a modest little sketch or a large complex composition, I consider both to be finished when my statement has been made, when nothing I might add can make it better, or worse, when anything added might diminish it. Where can you go from there? There it is. There's your answer. If you've addressed those three things, you're laughing. So anyway, but it's a great book, and the paintings are wonderful, seeing Zorn palettes and all of that kind of thing. But it applies to art in general. It's a wonderful book to have, and just filled with beautiful paintings. So, as you know, yeah.
It's fantastic, guys. And I'm reading comments. JJ Duff saying, "Love alla prima." And if you are to purchase this book, and it's not sponsored whatsoever, we just happen to both love this book and happen to have it. Buy it from Richard Schmid website. Directly, yeah. So it goes to the family and his legacy. Great book. Check it out, and his website too.
Yes. Yep, that's what I did too. Yep, best. Yeah. Fantastic! Wow, that's amazing. There it is, the book. Fantastic.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, that's really cool. Clarence, we are here to promote our upcoming shows, right? So I do need you to inspire artists who maybe didn't enter the show yet. I will entice you, maybe, like, what if you will become a Red Rock mentor and enter an online show? That's a great way to expand your reach.
Yes.
So,
audience.
But like, tell why anyone should enter a show, and how to start entering, why you're doing that, what is it about?
Okay. I've also been on the other end. I've also been a juror for shows. So I can see both sides of it, both entering and having to judge them. It's, entering is, like you said, entering is a good way to, number one, expose your work, and get some reaction from people. It's it's just a good way it's a good way for you to say, I am ready to show my work. I've entered. One other thing I'll say about that, though, the other side of it, which is, if you don't get into a show, and it's one of the things that all of us have had to come to grips with, which is, you're sure that piece is going to make it into a show, and it doesn't. And so, like, you can choose to be crushed by it, or you can simply understand that, this speaking from being on the other side, that a lot of it it's not personal at all. It's simply different judges have different things that they look for. And because they have different styles also, and the different kinds of, just like, you as a person entering have the kind of things that you like, they also have that. So it's never a personal thing that a piece of work doesn't get included in. It's just simply that the judges may have, their own particular leans, the things that they're looking for. When I've judged a show, I tried to keep it to, getting the basics in, proportion, composition, color composition, values, that kind of thing. And then, you start looking for the sort of intangible things like, do I feel something about this piece? I mean, because you as an artist has to feel something about your piece if you want somebody else to feel something about it. Because that shows up. I mean, if you've done a piece just to do a piece, that shows up. So you really have to feel about it, and then you have to express that feeling in the piece, and someone else will see it. So, but having said that, enter shows, get out there, and just go for it. It's a great way. It's a great way to expose your work, to get exposure to marketplaces. It's a good thing to do. I've been in a lot of shows. I've a lot of shows I didn't make it in, and you have to just go, okay, cool, next, and it can inspire you, hopefully, to say, okay, either that show just wasn't for me, or I need to up my game. And in each case, when I enter a show and I don't make it, I simply think it's time to up my game, right? So so you just go positive with it. You don't go negative. You go, okay, so let's see if I can do a piece next time that they cannot refuse.
Now you're talking Godfather.
That's right. That's exactly. That's it. I've got it. That's right. I've got a painting you can't refuse. So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, that's what it's about. It's like keeping a very sort of positive thing, because art's a wonderful thing. This is a wonderful thing we're doing. Think about this. Okay. For instance, if you're painting or you've done acrylics or whatever, if you're painting and someone buys your painting, family member, doesn't matter who, someone just paid you to color. How lucky are we? We're being paid to color. That's what I think about all the time. I am being paid to color. So it's a wonderful field we're in. It's got a lot of, it has a lot of ups and downs because we bring a lot of ourselves to the work. But just keep a positive spin on what you're doing. Why are you doing this? Because the need to express something, so go for it, put it in shows, put it in the Red Rock show,
Yes.
Yes.
That's
That's right. See, there you go. There you go. So that even tells you that's why you need to put it in that show, because they've got a logo kind of thing. It's cool. No, but it's a good place. They're a wonderful organization. I've been watching. I've been posting my things on Facebook, on your site too. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of good work coming out of there. So anyway, I don't know if that told anybody anything, but go for the shows.
I saw a lot of hearts. Everybody seems liking what you're saying, and JJ Duff saying, "I love your pep talks." So I think we should invite you for a demo sometimes for us virtually. Like, let's talk. And
okay, cool.
Meanwhile, thank you so much, guys. That's time to go paint for everybody.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Go color. Go color.
My voice. I've been talking too much. I should let you talk all that time.
That's okay.
I'm so sorry. Let me grab water.
That's okay. Anyway, yeah. So everybody play. I mean, the whole idea of doing this thing is, for me, it's play. It's playing. So keep playing, and create. We're part of a community, a wonderful community of people who, as opposed to sort of the world out there where everyone's climbing over top of everybody, we're this community of creativity. You're in a community where people reach back to bring you along with them. So it's like a journey that we're all going on, and we're all on the same path. So, reach out, talk to people. Artists are, you can pick up the phone and call almost anybody or text almost anybody, and they'll reply in this business we're in. So, okay.
That's so true. Thank you so much. Yeah. I almost forgot my how people call it shameless plug. So tomorrow we're going live, and I got brave and I did call anybody. So I call Eric Rhodes. I got his assistant, but
Yes,
I got yes. So tomorrow I'm gonna talk to Eric Rhodes, and
he's a
he's a good guy. So I'm excited. What should
yes.
I ask him, Clarence?
Talk to him. I got to do Pastel Live last year with him, and it was a great operation. He puts together amazing. He's been doing amazing online. I think he does live shows, but over the COVID period, he's put together some amazing online programs, and of which I got, like I said, got to participate in it. His organization is phenomenal. All of his people are amazing. Yeah, talk to him about his organization. It's an amazing organization. He loves pastels and he loves painting and he loves art too. So he's just a fountain of incredible information. So that's going to be a good get. Way to go.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk to Eric tomorrow. Entry deadline is coming up. There gonna be another deadline, so you'll see more of my face too, talking to artists, and we are going to put Las Vegas in-person pastel show, and also we got news. Tonya Lane is coming to Las Vegas, so we have to deal. Yeah, so we have to deal with that.
That's fantastic.
If you don't have plans on June 2nd and 3rd, and it's always good time to come to Las Vegas, check out our website, and we'll have more events right before IFs if you have time or happen to be nearby, or just want to get away for some stuff and also learn pastels. That's like, we're not competing with Lady Gaga, but she'll be here also,
That's great. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you very much for wanting to talk to me.
Oh, absolutely. And thank you for such an inspiration. I think I'm gonna go paint today for sure. Like,
Let's go.
thank you. Yes, and I'll be replying all your emails, guys. A lot of people are becoming Red Rock members, so
Good.
have a lot of emails to reply.
Good.
Please keep submitting your beautiful artwork. World does need it, and go color.
Yes, fantastic. Thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you. See you soon. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
You're awesome. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you, Clarence. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Bye.